Hi, okay, our speech and language screening tool, I will definitely give you the Google link for it because this is what makes it so awesome. So this is a language screening tool that I use. Now it is not standardized. It is not standardized. So that means this is just subjective data that I collect. Now we have quote unquote standardized it for our population. So I've given it to some students that are not in special education, that are doing very well in school, academically, socially. I gave it to some of my tiered speech and language students, and I've given it to some special education students, and I created a very subjective cutoff score. So let's say for first grade, my cutoff score is 12 out of 20. It's a very subjective score. It's just an average of what the first graders perform at in my school. Now, this will vary depending on schools, and this is not something that if a child gets 13, they pass, or gets a 9, they fail. But it just kind of gives us an idea of where they may fall compared to their classmates. Okay, so that's just this part, this grade and cutoff score. But this speech and language screening tool, no, I'm sorry, just a language screening tool, I open it up for a student on my computer and I just go ahead and complete it. You can write their name in here, teacher. If you double date screened, I'm going to add a little date for us, and you can learn a little bit how to do this. So if you wanted to add in why can't I find it? If you wanted to add in a date, so you go here, click date, click save. Now when you click on this, it will give you a little calendar. So you can say, let's say the child was screened on this date and we want it justified to this end. Okay, so that will be done for you now that you've purchased this. And then some recommendations if you recommend tier 3 services, tier 2 services, tier 1, no services, an evaluation. And then this is where our scores will be calculated. So the first thing I look at is vocabulary retrieval. I may ask a child to name different animals. So in 30 seconds, name as many animals as you can. And subjectively, I just decided that if they can think about 5 items in 30 seconds, they get a point. Now, the nice thing about this is that if I put a point here, it calculates for me down here at raw score, and then it actually puts it up here too. So I don't have to add anything later. So that's something I really enjoy. Saves me a couple seconds, which is important. Auditory recall is just a quick story I made up that looks at some different questions, some different who, where, when, what happened, why questions, and then I read the story. If a student gets a point right, I put in a 1, and then you can see here it calculates it for me, and then it will input it here in the score section. So I hope you enjoy that as much as I do. Following directions, just look at some different directions that they can follow, some temporal concepts, some simple directions. You'll need a paper, a book, a pencil, and some crayons to follow it, and it's the same thing. They get 1 point if they get it right. It adds it up here, pops the score in here. Okay. And then we go down to sequencing. So I ask them, how do you wash your hands? And I give them a point if they can get a sequence word, because I work with the younger kids, and then I give them a point if they can get 3 steps or more. So they can get a total of 2 points for this section. Again, this is just something I made up. And then our narrative skills, story retell. So I'll say, have you ever been hurt before? Tell me the whole story. And then if they can do the who part, the where part, the what's the problem, what happened, how did they feel, just those different story grammar markers, they get a point for each section. And then when you're all done, the points will calculate here, and they'll give you a total score. And then if you decide to make cutoff scores, you can compare it. Say this child's in 2nd grade. The cutoff score for our school is a 10. This child scored a 20. He's doing really well in speech and language. And then you have some nice qualitative data to talk to the teacher about, that the word retrieval might be slow, but they've got good auditory recall, or you needed to split up the directions, things like that can give you a lot of really good subjective, not standardized data. Non-standardized data. Okay, thanks.